All right. What's up, you guys? You are watching Real Talk TV. Please make sure you hit the like, subscribe to the channel, share this video if you want to, and let the show begin. So I'm just trying to pull something up real quick. I got y'all. Please put in the chat. Let me know how your day is going so far. I'm not going to be long. This live, I usually only do an hour, but I'm going to try and do a half an hour. I'm gonna try and do a half an hour. If I end up being shorter than that, I don't know. That might be better for you. Let's see. Um I'm just looking it up for y'all so I won't have to so I can put it on the screen. Let me see. Okay, let's see if because I clearly didn't put it in right. This is CNN. Okay, here we go. All right, I got it. I got it. Yay. All right, so as you know, them white folks, have been trying to dismantle the Black community. And when I say them white folks, y'all know what white folks I'm talking about. Have been trying to dismantle the Black community, eradicate the Black race. If you want to identify it as a race, extinguish the Black culture. If they are not appropriating it, watering it down, doing whatever they can do to undo what their ancestors did, and that is bring us to the United States. They are thankful for those Caucasians who brought us here in bondage, but they are very, very, very displeased with the fact that we are still here and in some cases thriving despite the bold attempt to stop us from just living, just living and living good. So, with that being said, let me share my screen. So as you all know, every couple of generations, and I love this about the Black community, because even though there are like some serious obstacles that exist in the life of a person of African descent, who identifies as Black here in the United States and generally speaking across the Western world. But despite all of those issues, somehow we persevere, we thrive, we overcome, and we get it done, right? But what it is, I guess, and but we can always stop it. So there's a I don't know if I can get a copyright strike or just chalk that I won't be able to monetize this live, which doesn't really matter. YouTube owes me like what, $60 or something like that, and they still won't give it to me, or $20, whatever it is. They won't give it to me because it's not 100. And this has been like this for like a year or more. So obviously, I'm not butthurt about not being able to monetize this video. Where my cat? Okay. So anyway, um, there's always every other generation or couple generations, this really like black people just come out of our ancestors be speaking to us as something, because there's this like huge campaign worldwide to just give us better lives wherever we are. In the United States, the African American people, black people, melanated people, indigenous black people here in the United States are like the always at the forefront of trying to make things equal, better, and just help us thrive. And that is what these two, and there are businesses like this. I'm a part of a business. I'm a part of a cohort here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that that is that does the same thing. It's for African American women. Now they have some that are just for African American men and for African American men and women. They have some for people of color. They have some for women of color. There are so many different variations, but it's to kind of bridge the gap in equality. There's a large gap, and that gap is rooted in inequality, and they try to close that gap and make capital more accessible to African Americans, and particularly African American women and women of color, other women of color like Hispanic. I think they also, extend their services to um, when I say Hispanic, y'all know what I mean. The indigenous Native Americans who speak, unfortunately, Spanish. We all know what type of languages they should be speaking, but we're not gonna get into that today. Um, and so I just want to go over really what's going on. Like what's the purpose of this title? They're at it again, right? We've lost the battle. We've lost this battle when it comes to gaining some kind of footing in this country. That is what I mean. We've lost this particular battle. But remember, there's in every small battle, there's a war. And so, can we turn it around and win the war? And when I say we, I mean people who are tired of white supremacy. And we all know it is not just white folks who perpetuate white supremacy, but the the behavior pattern is originated from the source itself. And can we overcome it? Can we flip it around? So here's the article. Thanks to the Washington Post. Here it is. Federal court halts private grant program for Black female entrepreneurs. What does this mean? Let's find out. A panel of federal appellate judges. I mean, it depends on how you pronounce it. I say appellate, but I think it's widely received as appellate judges on Saturday temporarily blocked an Atlanta-based venture fund from awarding $20,000 grants to Black female entrepreneurs. Y'all, listen. Okay, I'm gonna be like interrupting the article that I'm reading, because I just came from an event where it was for African Americans or Blacks or whatever you want to melanated. I just came from an event where somebody won $50,000. Another person won $20,000. Another person won $10,000. And then in that particular it was a pitch competition. In that particular instance, they ended up giving everyone who pitched $5,000. Are y'all listen? Do y'all know how mad I was? Because I put the application in, but I missed the deadline, so they didn't accept the application. Shame on me. Shame on me. If you see something, right, and you can ready to fill it out, even if it's 1 o'clock in the morning after you put your kids to bed, please get your butt up and fill out the application, because that could be what your blessing, what comes out of it. Don't be like me and procrastinate and then try to submit it hoping the universe aligns. Don't do that. Um okay, so let me continue. So they give the grants to female entrepreneurs, writing that the program was racially exclusionary. This is what the judges said. These federal appellate judges say that it was racially exclusionary and substantially likely to violate a federal law prohibiting racial discrimination, y'all. And we all know why there exists these types of programs, because of the marginalization, because of the discrimination, because of the and it's usually covert. So it's usually very um what's the word I'm looking for? It's you don't unless you are the person experiencing the discrimination, you might not see it, or you might overhear them um choosing someone who is less qualified for the funding, something like that. And you kind of like put it together after it happens time and time and time again. Okay, so this will get into, I think, I know another article got into the number of black owned businesses that actually get funding. Is bizarre, and we all know, like, okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Part of what we know, part of what we already know, part of this, the discrimination that we already see that has been documented. It's not fabricated. It's not our imagination. It's not a hunch. These have been proven. These have been proven. Um, which is why we have HBCUs, which is why there is a constant I don't know, is a constant like struggle, but an attempt to have black owned banks, and this is why a lot of people eat, honestly, during the pandemic, this is why a lot of African Americans, a lot of black people decided to start their own businesses. This is why I did it. The microaggressions that are rooted in racism. Seriously. So, some people can say it don't exist. That's fine. You can believe what you want to believe. I know the facts. We know the facts. We see it every day. We feel it every day. We watch it every day. We have our life experiences. If you look around, if you look at the promotions that you kept being denied, even when you have the educational experience, education and experience, when you had the tenure, and somehow they keep choosing people outside of you. You're just not getting picked. And then on top of the disrespect, right, of not being chosen, you are selected to train the person who's going to end up superseding you. You end up training them, teaching them everything you know, or as much as you know as you can. And how do they thank you? How do they thank you? The person that you've trained comes to you for advice on how to do their job. Okay? It's happened to many people that I know. It's happened to myself. And so we're not going to get into the redlining. We're not going to get into that funding when it comes to locations of where you can live. And that means access to the other individuals Remember what they say, if you want to be successful, hang around successful people. Well, if you don't have access to successful people, how can you then acquire the relationships help that are supposed to help you move forward? Okay, so Saturday's decision reverses a Tuesday ruling by U.S. District Judge Thomas, y'all, Uncle Tom, who denied a request by the plaintiff, the American Alliance for Equal Rights, to halt the grant awards process. The alliance, led by conservative activist Edward Bloom, filed its lawsuit in August, a month after the U.S. Supreme Court effectively banned race conscious college admissions. Remember that, y'all. I hope y'all did not forget. If you have any high school students, if you have any current college students, if you have any middle schoolers, the elementary schoolers, this will affect them. This will affect them because we know they have not changed anything else. They have Life has not been um the issues have not been addressed to make life more equal. And they'll use different things like, but there are rich black people. Despite there are rich black, and they forget that word, despite all that we go through, we still find a way to persevere. Um So yeah, it's very important because they got rid of affirmative action in colleges. Dang, y'all. So now we going and see what the thing. Who was I talking? Okay, so it was me and my cousin and another woman, a group of us, and we were saying the only way segregation is going to work in the favor of black folks is if we initiate the segregation ourselves. If it's something that we plan, we decide, and we do it in a very well thought way, have a well thought plan, um, to make sure that things are being equally separated. You know, our lives are just there's like this extra safety net, the same way other cultures have, the same way other races of people have. Um, yeah, if you look at, I know here in my city we have a Chinatown. We have a whole town called China in the middle of Center City called Chinatown. They have their own banks, their own restaurants, their own housing. They have literally everything. They have their own bus system. That is, and I mean, if you look at the history of Chinatowns, you'll know, okay, they got separated. That was by force, but they decided to take that uh, form of isolation and discrimination, and they manifested it into their own community within a community, their own ecosystem. It's incredible. It's incredible. So they are not the majority per se in terms of ethnic group, but they definitely hold a lot of power. In fact, in my city, I think it's like 50-50 when it comes to, almost 50-50 when it comes to the black and white population, and then the Asian population is just really small percentage, but they have so much, so much economic power that there are a lot of laws and a lot of elections and everything in this city that kind of cater to the Asian population. They have their own supermarkets, their own districts. It's bizarre. Okay, so to continue, with the article, the members of the American Alliance for Equal Rights are gratified that the 11th Circuit has recognized the likelihood that the Fearless Drivers Grant contest is illegal. Blum said in a statement Saturday, "We look forward to the final resolution of this lawsuit." They are saying that they're going to win. Um, this racist, this white supremacist. A separate 11th Circuit panel will now decide whether the Fearless Fund will be blocked from awarding money under its Fearless Drivers Grant contest while the case is litigated in district court. Saturday's order merely halts the grant process until that separate panel issues a ruling. It's unclear when that determination will be made. Okay. Just so you know, for anybody who is looking to, to create something within their community, if these white supremacists win, which it's leaning toward because of the Republican judicial, the Republican judges that are, on the Supreme Court right now. Guess what's going to happen? Because now they can see that they can win. This is going to be the second little battle that they've won. And we know, if you know anything about the enslavement of the African people and the indigenous people here in the United States, they didn't become slaves overnight. They weren't brought, the first group weren't brought solely to be enslaved. No. There were policies. In fact, there were many wealthy, melanated, indigenous African people here in the United States. But laws started to be nipped away at that protected them, that allowed them their freedoms. The laws got slowly nipped away, slowly taken away. And then they started passing laws that prevented them from every and all things that reflected them as human beings. It wasn't an overnight thing. It wasn't as soon as they got here thing. No, it took several, I want to say like maybe a few decades. It took a few decades for the enslavement of those people to become as inhumane and as brutal as it was. And they did what they're doing now. I need y'all to pay attention. I know politics is not like, that so exciting. It's not Basketball Wives and I don't know, whatever shows is on now that like to instill and create chaos. It's not that per se, but it's more important, much more important. So you have to pay attention. I'm just saying. If you look at the 1930s, the 1920s, during Prohibition, let's say right before Prohibition, right before that period, when all of those immigrants from Europe came, they fled to it was, I'm gonna pull it. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up for y'all if I can remember. But there was a large influx of Europeans, and it wasn't the best or the brightest. These were the poorest of them all. These were the most uneducated of them all. These were the bottom, what some people might consider the bottom of the barrel. The rich folks started coming afterwards. But these were the bottom of the barrel in what their hierarchy would consider. And they came to escape being the bottom of the barrel. So they fled here in droves on boats, seeking asylum, seeking freedom of religion, seeking freedom of ethnicity, to not to be considered trash, searching for a better life. And guess also what the purpose of them coming here was. Okay, so you know how we had that we had about several maybe 200-300 years of enslavement, right? Guess what happened once that enslavement was over? You had one white man owning land, this large amounts of land. You might have had his workers, right? You might have had, the some of these patrollers who got hired to further dehumanize the enslaved people, fleeing for their lives for a bit of peace and out of bondage. So you had those the traditional police officers. You had the very, very poor whites who couldn't afford not a damn pot to piss in. But these were the farmers, the ones who provided the wealthy people with the things that they had, like the shoemakers and stuff. Right? So you had that group. Um, that was about it of the amount of white folks that were here. But you had all of these African individuals who are now no longer restrained um, and confined into these spaces called plantations. So they far outnumbered whiteness in the United States. They far outnumbered the white population. And so there was a problem. And the best way they could figure out how to solve that problem was to bring as many migrants as possible to balance out or outnumber, let me correct myself, to outnumber the African and indigenous counterparts. And not only did they do that, that they got into different people's ears. So they got into the ear of the native person. They got into the ear of these poor whites. I mean, they did it as well. They did it. They did the same thing during slavery. I mean, right before slavery, they did the same thing to the poor whites that they're doing now. They're pandering. Look at these people coming over here, stealing your resources. If you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to hire them because they will do it for free or low. I think it's the governor of New York, or the who is he? I think it's like the governor or the mayor or the um one of those I don't know if he's the politician or like maybe the head chief of something, um who's sitting up here saying that, we're gonna all the homeless people, we don't have any space because we took in all of these migrants. We have no space, therefore we need all of the homeless people to leave because we gave up all the space to the migrants, so we need all homeless people to leave. We'll get you housing outside of the city limits. Don't worry about it, we got you outside of the city limits. But we need you to leave because we let all these people in. So what does that build? Animosity. Animosity toward our brothers and sisters who live south of us, who are coming here for the same reason the white folks' forefathers got here. But they're going to plant a seed in your mind that somehow the Mexicans are taking something away from you. And that's just not true. That's just not true. So how can we turn this around? And I want you guys to read the rest of this article. Please read it. Read articles like it. Y'all know I encourage reading. It's good for the mind. It's good for to have a better perspective and outlook on life, and it's good for arguments. It's good to challenge people who think they know everything. Big O, hey, how are you? Oh my goodness, I've been talking this whole time and I didn't even see you. So yeah, so you know what I'm saying, like, Big O be here. If you don't like to read, listen to people who talk about it. So we can wake ourselves up, we can wake each other up. The Mexican, the Honduran, the Ecuadorian, the Afro, what do they call them? The Afro Cuban, because I can't speak for them white Cubans, but them Afro Cubans, the Venezuelans and all of them, they're not our enemy. They are not our enemy. But they're going to try and plant a seed to make you believe that they are our enemy. They are not our enemy. They plant a seed in their minds when they turn on the news. They plant a seed in the minds of the people of the world, and we know this. To believe that black folks is lazy. How many times you heard somebody say, we were told black people were this. We were told black people do this. How many times you heard somebody from another country say that? And you take them to a cookout, or you just start getting to know them, and they be like, man, they done lied. Those people lied. And then you realize people are just people. You get some good, some bad, some crazy, some boring, some fun, you get all kinds. But you won't know that allowing these particular white people who want to see us divided, listening to them, you won't get it. And we won't unite. We have to. That's how we win. We unite. We realize that these are our brothers and sisters, aunties, uncles, cousins, whatever you want to call it. But we're fighting the same war. We're fighting the same war. And it is white supremacy. I don't know where, I'm sorry to say this, I don't know where East Asians stand in this fight. I don't know. They identify themselves as white. Some of them. So I don't know where they stand. I know, it's a difference between a South Asian, or is there a difference? Because when you look at Indians, what do? They try to get close to whiteness. They, try to align themselves with whiteness. Some. Is it some? Is it most? Is it all? We all know. I know. I'm being dramatic when I say all. Exaggerative. We understand that life does not navigate in absolutes. If you've ever been to college or read a book on morality, or in math, nothing on this earth deals in absolute. So yeah. So anyway, so that's how we win. Another way we win is initiating our own segregation. And I'm not talking about, I mean, I do want to see a modern day um Black Wall Street. I do. I do want to see a modern day um Rosewood. Don't know what Rosewood is? Look it up. I'm just y'all gotta do research. Y'all got to. That's another way we win. And not trying to completely erase ourselves from society. Not stepping back from from what is happening. Not saying, you know what, because of all of this stuff that's going on, I'm not going to vote. That's the worst thing you could do. Or saying, you know what, this whole political system is a farce. So you know what? Forget it all. No, I say a part of the way to win and how we turn it around is you run for office. Run. Run for office. Create your own party. Join a third party. There are third parties. Find out which one you resonate with the most. If you don't resonate with any of them, start campaigning under another party. Galvanize others around what it is you believe in, what it is, how you think this government should be run. Start educating as many young people as you can. Trying to wake them up. I mean, hell, just give me one. Just do one. Find one young person that you think you have the ability to influence and talk to them about these things. Educate them. We talk about wealth, right? Sometimes we talk about wealth on this channel. Talk about wealth to them. Hire them. If you have a job, if you have a business, hire them. I don't spend my money anywhere. Listen, if I could find there, actually, maybe I should do a live about this. There is a Black owned grocery store here in Philadelphia. Okay. So that is the only place that I kind of concede when it comes to only supporting Black owned businesses. I typically only support Black owned businesses. I don't even like to buy clothes anymore, y'all, because they're not Black owned businesses. I go to Black owned businesses to purchase what I need to purchase. And I got to do better, actually. Scratch that. I got to do better to make sure that 100% of the things that I purchase, I want to get to 100% that is Black owned or Black community supporting. That's where your mind should be right now. If you want to overturn what is happening to us, if you want to win the war, you got to think in a way that is beneficial to you and the people that are going to benefit you. How do people benefit you? By way of support. Who do you think is going to support you the most? Your culture, your group of people. I didn't mean to preach, y'all. I'm sorry. But I just wanted to say that. I did not mean to it was supposed to be just like, an article on what's popping. But I want to do a challenge. I did this on Instagram. I think I'm gonna do it here on YouTube. I'm gonna challenge myself again. I'm gonna challenge myself again. And I want y'all to participate with me. Only supporting as much as you can Black owned businesses until you can get to 100%. Start at 5%. Start at 1% of the things you purchase and work your way up. Make it become habitual that you go to maybe have a handful, because we know just because it's black owned don't mean it's going to be, that good. Get a handful of the same type of businesses within the same industry, and figure out which ones you like best. Figure out which one is going to be your regular one, and then your emergency one, whatever. And that's how we win the war. You win the war when you start thinking offensively and not defensively. We don't just become reactionary. Oh, they're oppressing them over here at that store, so we're not going to go to that store because they did this. No. Don't go to the store at all. Don't wait for something to happen. And not only don't go to that store, if you have the means, create your own store that sells the same dang on products or similar products, maybe better service, maybe better products. Become their competitors until you can bump them out. That is how you win the war. Strategically. All right, y'all. That is my live for today. I think I went over as usual. Let me see. Yep. I went over. But that's what I wanted to say. Please take care of yourselves. And I wanted to say something else, but it slipped my mind that fast. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share with as many people as you possibly can. And until next time, peace.